Hello folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a bit of a review on the Intrepid 4x5 camera. This is a Mark IV, which is the latest one, although I've had it for about a year and a half now. So I thought I'd give my impressions of it. Usually I do videos in the field, but today I thought I'd do one from my office and just talk really about this camera and its, what it's capable of and where it's sort of lacking a bit. For the price point and things, it's a real great way to get into 4x5 large format photography. They also do a 5x7 and an 8x10, but really when you're starting to get up to that sort of size, the film price for me anyway, certainly for me anyway, just seems to get stupidly high. This is an expensive hobby anyway, let's be honest. Or buying film for this is film's just gone through the roof. But anyway, but this is still sort of reasonable, if you can call it that. So yeah, I'm just going to go through the camera itself, how it works, what my views on it are, and some of the accessories you can get, and then what you need to get if you're going to get one of these. What you're going to need to get to obviously to get out there and shoot with one of these. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so let's get on to talk about the actual camera itself. Like I said earlier, this is a Intrepid 4x5 camera. They also do a 5x7 and an 8x10. I'm going to come right off the bat and say straight away that I think this camera is a brilliant bit of kit. For £280, obviously in the UK, this is a real affordable way to get into large format photography. They also do a black edition of this, which is £350, and then they do a hardwood version, which is £500. I really fancy the hardwood version of this camera, but whenever I go online, it always seems to be out of stock. I believe they just brought out a Mark V of this. The one we're looking at here is a Mark IV, but this is a brilliant bit of camera, and I can't wait to have a look at the Mark V, and I may order that at some point. So what I'm going to go through today is just simply the camera setup, how it looks when it's packed away, which is this right here. Talk about the lenses, talk about the rear standard and the different backs you can get for this camera also, and just some thoughts really, and maybe a couple of issues that I've had with it, which to be honest I've really not been very many. But let's get into it really. So this is how how it's packed down. To open it up, you basically undo the two screws on the rear standard. This then stands the camera up. What you have is a level for sort of front and back, and then you've got a level for side to side. You then screw these in place. What I would recommend, just talking about levels, is that you carry another level with you just to check, to double make sure that everything is level. And also to level your tripod before you even put the camera on it, because if you've got a level tripod, that helps massively to level in this. Once you've then got the rear standard in place, you take the front standard, and what you've got is 4 screw holes here. These screw holes basically equate to different lens mounts. So the closest one is I think 70 to 150 mil possibly, and they go up there to 300 mil. So your standard without any recessed boards in terms of lenses is anything from 90 mil up to 300. If there is an asterisk by the 75 mil, which basically means that if you want to use a 75 mil lens, you have to get one of these, the recessed board. This sits in the front of the camera and just pushes the lens closer towards the rear standard. It means you can actually focus the camera itself. So what you do is, obviously once you've got your lens, which is all available in the instruction manual that the device comes with, you effectively screw the front standard on to where you are. So I'm just setting it at the maximum one, which should be if I had a 300 mil lens, or if I'm using my 250 mil lens, which is what I've got, I would put it in that selection. So what you've got on the front standard is you've got the option to move this from side to side. You can also twist it from side to side. You've got 2 screws here. One controls the up and down movement, the front standard. The other one controls the tilt function on it, and again you've got a level on the front there to make sure you are level. And then once you've got yourself set up, you would basically put that screw that down, and then it's all solid and ready to go. So we then go on to talking about lenses. I've got 3. The one that I'm just getting now is the 90mm. No, it's not. It's a 250mm lens. So I've got a 250, I've got a 135, and I've got a 90mm. What I'm actually going to get to add to my lens collection is a 180mm. I've got on the screen now, you'll see there's loads of lens choices, which like I say is on screen now. Well, these, I tend to buy Fuji ones, not for any other reason that they are relatively cheap in comparison to some. They're pretty sharp, and yeah, there seems to be quite a few out there as well. So when ordering lenses, some tips that I would give you is, if you're going to get them off eBay, make sure you get them from a decent dealer. I tend to get them from Japan. There seems to be more options out there, and the descriptions they give tend to be pretty close to what you actually get. When you're looking for a lens, I try to avoid any lenses that have got any scratches on them, that have got any fungus or any separation or any haze. I avoid them like the plague, and I'll generally go to ones that say they're mint. And all this business of mint plus and excellent plus and all that sort of thing, it does matter really. But anyway, I tend to go for mint ones. You'd be hard pushed to find one that hasn't got dust in them, but usually they'll say there's some dust inside the lens. However, it doesn't affect shooting, so as long as it says that, then that's what I go for. And then I'll just look to make sure that it says that the lens is working properly, because there's lots of things to go wrong with these. But effectively, just with the lenses, what you do with this is to put it in, you basically, you get a lens board. Intrepid sell these lens boards on their website, so all mine are Intrepid. And just make sure you get the right hole size for the lens you're getting. And what you get on the lens basically is you get the trigger, or the shutter button I should say. There's a ring here to say what shutter speed you want, including right down to bulb. And then there is a lever down here which basically is for selecting aperture. Now obviously you can see, obviously none of this has a light meter in this, so you have to then get yourself a light meter. I use my phone because I do want to get a light meter for my collection at some point, but at the moment it's just affordability for me really. So the light meters you can get range massively. You can get a Pentax digital spot meter, which seems to be the favoured one. They're about £450. You can get the analog version of that, which is about £180, £200, something like that, and then Minolta do them. And then you can get some Sekonic light meters, which they're still being made to this day. So again, there's plenty of options out there, but it's just getting the right one. Like I say, everyone seems to go for the Pentax digital spot meter, which has pushed the price right up, unfortunately. So on this lens, to be able to see through the lens, it has this button up here, which basically opens the aperture blade, and then you can open the aperture ring right up to be able to see right through the lens, obviously to get your image on the back ground glass. So what you'll also need for your lens is a cable release, and these are just very simple. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, from various different shops. They come in various price points, lengths, colors, whatever you want. I tend to carry a few of these in my bag because I've lost them. The end seems to come off on a lot of mine, probably because I'm buying the cheaper ones. But just make sure you keep a few of these in your bag. And effectively, what happens with these is that it just screws onto your lens down here. You can activate the shutter yourself just by clicking this. What you've got to do is close the aperture blades, and then you can press the button manually, but obviously by doing that you introduce some camera shake, so hence the reason why you use one of these. So if you shot that basically, and you get that lovely sound of the aperture blade opening. So that's the sort of front end really. There's not a great deal more to say about that. Just coming round to the side then, so what you have is the side bellows. And you can get, at the time when I ordered this was about 1.5 years ago now, so I've had a fair amount of use out of this camera and experience with it. You could order red, blue or black at the time of ordering this, and obviously I went for the red set. I'm not sure if that's still the case now, but certainly when I did, you could have a choice of colours. So what I've done, this was actually having taken a course by Nick Carver. I'll put a link in his for his YouTube channel below, and also his website, because if you want to go into great detail about shooting these, he runs some excellent online courses, and I really couldn't recommend them enough. I'm not paid by him. He's, you know, I don't even know the guy personally, but he was a great inspiration for me to get into large format photography. So well worth a watch. So definitely give him a shout out. You know, to go and find his page, like I say, link below, and yeah, definitely recommend that when you're getting into this. So just to come around the back then, I'll just go back around this. So this here basically is for measuring your focal distance, depending on aperture you use and stuff like that. But like I say, his course goes into great detail about this. So this was one of his suggestions. So just coming down to the back here, what you have is the rear standard with the ground glass, and this will basically go portrait or landscape. So you've got some choices there. This is just held on by magnets and will just pull off the back here completely if you wanted to. This here is the ground glass, and you can remove it by just lifting these up, and this will come off. Now, what I have on here is the standard ground glass that the camera comes with, and then I've added the Fresnel glass that you can get from Intrepid to fit this camera. What this glass does is basically makes the image on the back a lot lighter, so that you can see your image better, especially in the corners, because what you'll find when you first start using one of these is you get a fairly bright image in the middle, and then the brightness dissipates as you get towards the edge of the glass, and it makes it very difficult then to see your corner sharpness. So this here I would definitely recommend. This is £25 from Intrepid, and the ground glass I would definitely recommend having a spare one of these on the shelf, because these do get broken fairly easily. That's just a part of using these cameras, unfortunately. So when you take it off, make sure that you take it off and leave it in a safe place, but also have a spare one of these on the shelf to go, just in case you do break them. And they retail for about £15 again from Intrepid. So when you've taken this off, this is an international back, which many different cameras will use this type of back also, but this then opens the door to different backs you can put on this. So what you can get for this is Lomography do a instant wide, the Fuji Instastack wide back for this, so you can shoot like a Polaroid type picture if you want. I've not got that back. That retails for about £130 in the UK. I do have a Polaroid camera and I do use it occasionally, but it's just something at this moment in time. It's probably not something I would get for this back. But you can also get some older stuff, like Horseman do like a 6x6 or a 6x7 back for this, or a 645, which is medium format for this, and it literally just folds on here. It'll have a ground glass. You can pull it out, and you'll be able to get your shots on that. So there is different options for this. I have a iDay 6x17 back for this, which I will show you now. So this here is the 6x17 back. It will also shoot 6x12 and 6x14 off of this back, and it basically comes in two parts. Now this iDay back, there is some older versions of this which are a bit cheaper, retail for about £400–500. This was a brand new one. They're made in China. It's, you know, it's pretty well put together, to be fair, and it just opens the door to be able to do panos with this camera, which is great. I absolutely love using this bit of kit. This bit of kit here I got off eBay brand new, and was about £700. Now the way that this works is you get the first bit, which is your ground glass, and what happens with this is it basically fits in the back of the camera, and you would secure it by putting them in there. then you'd go back the usual way, which is open the aperture blades and see through the rear standard and be able to obviously compose your shot and obviously focus. Once you've then got this and you've locked all this down, you remove the back and put that to one side. You would then put your back on this way up, like that. Being careful not to obviously move the camera. Your frame, you look through these little holes here, and this what it gives you here is the frame number. So on the backing strip, which is on screen now, you'll see the numbers. They all look different. So Kodak backing paper looks different to others. So like Fuji and that. So what you would do is you just wind this on until you see number 1 on the back, and then basically if you're shooting 6x17, you're looking for frame 1, 3, 5, and 7. If you're looking for if you're doing 6x12, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So as you can see from that, if I mainly shoot 6x17, which means you get 4 shots a roll of 120mm film. The way this thing loads, there's also a dart slide. So when you go to take your shot, you take your dart slide out, take your shot, put your dart slide back in, and wind your film on. So the way that this works is if I just take the back off, the back just comes off, and what you have on the inside is it just looks like this. So you put your new film in here, you would lock it in place and pull the film across, and then what you have is an empty spool over here. You feed that in, and then you would wind it on until you see the arrows come through to about here. Then put your back on, and you just put it on that way. You would then fix it down, open your window, and then just wind it on until you see the frame number that's indicated on the back of here. So this is dead easy to use. And then obviously once you've got to your last shot, you keep winding it on until your film is in the spool. Take it out and develop as normal. So that's that back there, which is brilliant. Just going back to the Intrepid back then. So if you're then just shooting this as nature intended, which is with the Intrepid back, which I do quite often, what you need for this is obviously some film holders. So you get these, Intrepid sell them. I think they've got 2 on their website. They're about £510 for 2 of these. What you get with these is there's 2 shots per holder, and basically you would load these in the absolute pitch black. So you do need a dark room or a dark bag or a dark tent to actually load these up. And basically you load them up from the bottom, and then you would sit them down, and then once they're shut down, in theory they should be light tight. Now what I would recommend when buying these is that you make some notches in the bottom here of your film holder. The reason why I would suggest doing that is when you take your dart slide off and you take the shot, so when this is in here, like so, you would obviously take your dart slide off, shield your lens, take your shot, put this back in. If you get home and find that there is a light leak on your film, what happens at the very, very bottom of your film, you see these notches just really fake on the bottom of your film. And what that helps you do is identify the film holder and then the side that has got the light leak. So on the other side, this will have a slightly different pattern on this side, and it just enables you to identify the film holder that has got the issue, and then obviously hopefully you can do something about getting this sorted. With these, I would suggest you keep them, once they're loaded, keep them in a Ziploc bag. The reason for doing that is because there is lots of places along the journey of actually shooting this on any camera that dust can get in. So if you can keep dust away from your film for as long as physically possible, it's going to save you a lot of hassle later when it comes to actually dust removal on the film, because it is the one job I absolutely hate. But what I do when I've actually shot this is I use a Epson V750 to scan my film, and I use the Silver Fast software, which I would highly recommend. It's got a conversion system on there where you select the film that you've shot, and then you would basically it would reverse the film. So obviously it's not a negative anymore. It's a positive image. But what that does have is a dust and scratch removal system using IR technology, and that works brilliantly on colour film. It can be used on black and white, but it is a lot less effective. So if you're shooting black and white with this, just as much as possible, and colour, just do as much as you can to make sure that you've kept dust away from your film, basically. So it's always going to be there. It's a fact of life. It's a joy that we have to put up with as film photographers. But yeah, the more you can do up front, the better, basically. So that's the back of the camera. Obviously, you've got two shots, per film holder. So what I love about this camera and about this format in general is that I am a digital shooter. I've been a digital shooter for many years. I haven't come from film. Back in the day, I went into digital. I actually then fell out of love with photography altogether, because I just found I was going out on a shoot and just shooting hundreds of images, and they just stack up on hard drives, and I'd never ever use them, and I got sloppy with my what pictures I was taking. I'd get to a beautiful location, there'd be a beautiful sunrise, and I'd literally just be shooting in every direction possible to make sure that I've got something, and I just wasn't thinking about my composition, whether the shot was actually going to work or not. I just got really sloppy, and I just really wasn't enjoying my photography. So I started off back in film with a Olympus 35mm camera. I quickly then went on to a Mamiya C3 and shot medium format, and I now have a Pentax 645 and this also. And what I absolutely love about this, and I would suggest to anybody that is thinking about getting into film, or is getting a bit tired and a bit bored of digital photography, is just take a step back from it. Look at getting something like this. It's £280. Okay, so the lenses, these range from about £250 to £400 for these Fuji lenses. You can go cheaper, you can go more expensive. You need to add these. You need to add a dark cloth, which is one of these, which is the famous thing you see when you see people shooting, which is the head under one of these, so you can see what you're shooting. And I'd just suggest giving it a go, because what you find is when you go out, I've got 6 of these, so I've got 8 of these, so I've got 2 shots per roll, per one of these. So really I've got 16 shots. That's all I've got. So what it makes you do when you're walking, and looking for compositions and shots you want to take, you've always got that thing in the back of your mind that actually all I've got is 16 sheets of film, and then that's it. There's no more, and I've got, that's how many shots I've got. And I always recommend taking the same shot twice, because you never know if you're going to get a scratch in the film, or you're going to get development issues. There's a light leak on your film, so you always suggest that one of these with 2 films in is actually the same shot. So when you look at it that way, all you've then got is 8 shots to worry about. And if you're going to try and bracket with this, then you'd end up doing the same exposure with one of these, put your next one in, and then you go a stop brighter or stop darker, whatever you're going to do, and then take the same 2 shots again just to cover yourself. So it really does make you slow down. It makes you think about what you're doing, and I just love the process, really, of metering the scene. Like I say, some people will shoot me want to shoot me for suggesting that I use a phone, which I'm not comfortable with, because it's the mix of digital and analog. I'd rather it be completely completely done with a light meter. But you've got to use what you've got to use at the end of the day. So that's what that's why I love this format, really, and especially this camera, because it is a great way to get into large format photography. So I would recommend it to anyone. The couple of issues I find with this camera is that when you've got the the front standard up here on the lowest, trying to get this to tilt and shift and move up and down and then fixed in place is quite difficult, and I find that sometimes these screws don't do up enough to be able to keep that from moving, which is some frustration. And then the other one is this is a weak point on the camera, so this is actually your focusing wheel, so hopefully you can see on the camera there that the bellows are extending and then retracting. What I've had with this is that this snaps off. It's held in with 3 sort of lugs, and all the lugs fell off, and that come off in the field, which was immensely frustrating, because then trying to hold that in and screw for focus was very difficult. But I've managed to glue it back on now, and I've actually got another one of these bases anyway. So yeah, so I'll be looking forward to seeing what the Mark V has to offer and what improvements they've got, because some of the more expensive cameras out there, you find that you can have a lot more freedom with the rear standard. It will move side to side, it will go up and down. So you have some more movements with this. But what I would say is that most of your movements will be done on the front standard, and this has all of the ups and downs that you need. The other thing that is a bit of a pain, I suppose, is obviously screwing this into the holes there. Yeah, so that's sort of where we are with this camera. Really, I think it's a brilliant bit of kit, and I would recommend that if somebody wants to get into large format camera, then definitely look into an Intrepid camera. They're really good. I should say, just for transparency reasons, that I bought this camera out of my own money. All the lenses, all the kit that you see here is bought from my own money, and Intrepid haven't asked me to do this video. Then they're not sponsoring the video. And yeah, I've done this off my own back, so I think this is a brilliant bit of kit, and I think that if I find a brilliant bit of kit like this, I'll share it with the world. So hopefully somebody else will find this video useful if they're thinking about getting into it. So yeah, so that is the camera itself. Just some other things that I would mention as well is that if you're going to put a medium format back on there, whether that's the Horseman 6x6 or the 6x7 or the 645, it's always worth carrying around spare 120mm spools, because obviously you need an empty one to be able to spool your completed film onto. I've been out before and not had one of these, and then you cannot shoot full stop then, because if you haven't got a spare one of these, you're knackered. The other thing that I would recommend as well is carrying around a notebook, because obviously this doesn't record any metadata at all. Apart from when you scan it, it will obviously record the scanning data that you have, but it won't record anything else. So I tend to use one of these, and I'll write down the date that I've shot, what I shot, the lens I used, and then the aperture settings and the shutter speed and things like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend a notebook. And the other thing is talking about film. So film for 4x5, there's not as much about as 120, and then in turn there's not as much 120 film about as there is 35mm. So your shooting options for this are a lot less. You can get Velvia 100, Velvia 50 from Fuji, and then you can get Kodak Portra on this. I think they do, and I know they do 400, they do 160, and I think they do 800. Ilford also do some film for this, so you can get HP5 Plus, you can get FP4, and you can get Delta 100, and I think there's a couple of others they do as well. And then you can get some cheaper film, like Frame-A-Pan 100, 200, 400 speed. What I would recommend if you are going to get into this for the first time, like all of us that have shot medium format, it's very temperamental. There's a lot of room for error on this, whether it's metering, whether it's light leaks, whether it's, just getting your focus right. There is a lot of room for error with these, and it can be immensely frustrating at times, but then also amazingly rewarding when that shot comes out. But what I would suggest is, for practice and bits and pieces like that, I'd look to get some Frame-A-Pan, because shoot black and white. It's quite cheap to develop if you want to start home developing, and also the film itself is cheaper. So for 50 sheets, it's about 39, 40 pounds for a box of 50 sheets of Frame-A-Pan. If you want to move to HP5 Plus, that's about £45 for 25 sheets. And then if you're going to go up to colour, that's when it starts to get really expensive. So a box of 10, say Portra 400, which everyone seems to shoot, is you're looking at about £75. So it is quite expensive. So you're better off making your mistakes on your Froma pan. The shots come out beautifully. It's just that the negative is quite a thin negative, I find, with Froma pan, and it's quite prone to scratches. So you just got to be a bit more careful with it. But I would suggest using that first, learning the camera, learning how you've got to load the dark slide in the bag. You know, when in complete darkness, you can't see how you're loading. You know, you're gonna make mistakes doing that. You're gonna scratch film. It's you know, it is a delicate art shooting with one of these, or you know, a 5x7's the same, and certainly 8x10 is as well. And obviously, the higher, you know, the bigger the camera gets, the more expensive the film gets. But I find that 4x5 film, it scans beautifully. You can blow up negatives massively if you want to print, and you just get beautiful resolution out of it. And really, for me, I don't see a need for me personally to go up to those bigger cameras. I'm really happy with this setup. So like I say, I'm definitely going to be sticking with Intrepid. I'm going to make a lot more videos with, you'll see me out with this camera a lot more. I've done a lot more videos. There is already a few videos out there of me using this in the field, and there'll be a lot more to come. So you know, we're currently just getting to the end of September now, so the leaves starting to change colour here in the UK, and I can't wait to get out and do some forest photography with this camera and just take my time and really, you know, look for decent compositions and yeah, get some amazing shots out of this camera. So I really hope that you found this video useful. If you've got any questions for me, then please just message below, or you can email me privately, and I'll quite happily go through this camera or any other questions you've got about any of the other cameras that I own, and film photography in general. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be some pictures that I've put up on this video that I've taken from this camera recently, and then also over the last year and a half. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you again.